Hey, welcome to the Infinite Mindset Podcast. I'm here today with Jeff. How's it going, Jeffrey?
Good. We're excited about today's topic on video.
Yep. We're going to dive in today into video and how it's changing the face of marketing, cinema, film, anything that's visual and video. And we're going to be talking about what's going on, how it's affecting things, what might be the future of it, how you can leverage all that wisdom and knowledge to find areas to play in for making money, to find places of building your brand, to use it in your businesses or your personal life, or just have fun with it.
Well, I mean, I'm most interested in how it's affecting social media and content creation because I remember we had Atu on and there's a lot of video slop out there and things like that. And knowing what's real and what's not. How is it affecting social media today?
Yeah. And when you say Atu is our chief technology officer here and our head of our media departments here. So, a slop. So in case people are not familiar with the term AI slop, it really just means like an overabundant amount and like unnecessarily large amount of. So when you get, LLM slop or you get video slop, it's just like tons of stuff, like just because it can, it is. And, humans didn't used to do that. We are so much around efficiency with time and energy. If we don't need to do it, if we don't need to say it, if we don't need to write it, we typically don't. I mean, certainly some people do, but now we're actually just creating a tremendous amount of everything. But let's go to how is this affecting content on socials? So I think it's...
Let me give a stat real quick on that.
Yeah.
I was just looking at it. Mm-hmm. So video content's still the way to go. It's 82% of the internet traffic is extra video, and 90% plus of marketers say video delivers an ROI, and short form video dominates engagement. So it's an area that must be talked about. So yeah, you were saying?
Yeah. So, well, okay. And let's consider all that stuff. So, yes. And how is it affecting it? Well, and people are now using it as creators and they're doing what's, I think there's a big mess, to be honest, that will have to get cleaned up, but I think it's an interesting start. And, a lot of these areas that do get transformed start as mess or overusage of them. Then they get cleaned up and they become interesting. I think eventually it will become very interesting, but I think at the moment it's kind of sloppy. And what I mean by that is right now people are hooking up automations basically to their brains, which would be like, Notion or like their word Google Sheets, and they drop an idea in, or they don't even have to drop an idea in. They can have their AI go create a bunch of ideas with ChatGPT, bring it back, create the video, post the whole thing to their social channels, and just have that all done like nonstop with AI. And so you're basically just watching completely AI-driven creations all day long.
There's an argument though that it's not necessarily about the quality of videos, it's the actual number of videos is beating people with high quality videos. Like there's this argument that having saturation is more important than the quality itself. But as long as the idea is clear and there's frequency and there's an iteration, it seems to be that.
So here's what is probably mostly happening right now is that people don't actually understand what they're looking at. So the algorithm and the past behaviors of humans is still winning with just speed of volume. That I think is going to be changing sharply and rapidly as more people understand that what they're looking at is simply AI slop. It's just a bunch of AI videos. And video marketing and video and AI tools and video are fascinating and amazing and unbelievable. And I think put into the hands of creative creators, that's what we're called. It's called creators, right? It's not creators because, this creators is a human thing. We're looking for human creations, right? So, having it just be AI creations, I think when people start to understand what they're looking at, there was a report I was just skimmed across, and I should have grabbed the stat, but it was something like 60 or 70% of Europeans who are seeing AI generated commercials have no idea that they're watching AI. And it really doesn't matter whether it's Europeans or Americans or North Americans. It doesn't matter where it is in the world. It was just a stat that was being done on the European marketing industry. And there's something like 70% of all material on social media is now driven by AI. So this, I think, when people fully wake up to the fact that they're looking at AI stuff, and this is a great question I've been asking people at different generations, how do you feel about knowing that you're looking at something that is fully AI designed? Actually, I'll ask you, Jeff.
I think some people are going to normalize it and they won't care. As long as the content is clear, deliberate, and hits their message, I think they actually won't care in time. But they'll get desensitized to it. That might be the next generation, but now maybe they care.
Yeah. So, and this is the question: is the purpose of the platform is now changing? Now we had a bit of a conversation with that too about this last time, but it's now progressing, right? So the question, I guess, is essentially is If the younger generation is looking for entertainment, which, the older generation, and I put us in the older generation, but I guess if we're older than 35, we're considered dinosaurs in social. And so the older generation, we were looking for value. We were looking for...
Yeah, authenticity and value is what we used to look for.
Yeah.
I think that's gone. I think actually the audience cares less if it's real and more if it's actually relevant. They don't care if it's real or not, or authentic. They just want relevancy.
Well, and so I think we'll see a split in that, but let's talk about like how it's now starting to change, because people are starting to move from an avatar-based or faceless, which is happening. You've got all sorts of UGC content and all sorts of, clones and everything that's kind of populating it. The question is, which content will it actually, which content will actually be accepted and which content will actually be rejected?
What do you think what do you think in the next 5 years, what's going to be accepted and what's going to be rejected, do you think?
Well, I think we're going to see shorter curves in that. I think we're going to see 6 month to 1 year stints where we're going to see large changes in engagement. And therefore, these companies, which are billion-dollar companies, are going to have to respond to the marketplace demand. First of all, they're seeing their engagement go up. So they're just following the trends. They're seeing more people looking at stuff right now. And so at the moment, they're just saying, hey, if that's helping us make more money and be more successful, then let's leave it alone. I think once the wind changes and less people are engaging, which I'm hearing more and more. I mean, I don't have a number of billions of people, but I do also hear our communities talk, and more people are less interested in what's going on in online and social platforms because they understand it's all AI generated, or they don't know what's even real or not anymore. And they're really kind of tired of having to just sit there, first of all, and say, is this even real or not?
So what's interesting is with the people that are learning, because you're always teaching at the cutting edge of AI, and the people learning from you are at the cutting edge. So they're becoming desensitized to caring what's on social media, and the rest of the public is not going to be even near that for a while, but they will. So
consider this, and we're really trying to resist teaching this without the element of human engagement. But a lot of people are teaching or talking about how to use automations and AI videos to just pump out huge amounts of content, because you're right. The higher volume, the more these are we call these, cash grabs or audience grabs or clickbait or, whatever you want. It's like they understand that right now it's working, but it's not inside of a sustainable approach.
Well, I think they've cracked the code that there's the customer who they're trying to reach with their video. And then there's the other customer called the algorithm. And so they're serving the algorithm over the customer. And that seems to be getting somewhere, but that may not last long, huh?
Well, again, I think that if the process is serving the companies who create the algorithm or manage the algorithm, then they will continue to serve themselves, which is fine. I mean, it's a company. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that like if there is some evil company, it's like that's what a company does. The platforms are designed to, get visibility and get attention. If they're getting more attention because people are using more AI and they're driving more frequency and there's more volume and therefore there's more posting, then they will
more ad
basically
revenue, more attention.
Yeah,
it's a currency.
Exactly.
Attention's a currency.
When that shifts and changes and people start to say, I'm not interested in just watching, AI systems spit out videos all day long, then I think that will lose. And if there's
what's going to have them not want to watch anymore? Saturation's over it. They want authenticity. They want clarity. The AI can be more clear than.
Well, it's a wonderful question about what human beings have wanted. I mean, this is the first time in history we've actually had content content so entertaining and good, created not by humans. And so the question is, I think that right now people are a little bit in this old paradigm of like, they watch it because they're kind of used to somebody having created it. It's a little bit fantastical to them to think that nobody created that, or there was extremely minimal human involvement into creating something. So I think that there's going to potentially be different stratifications of people that are engaging. And then at that point, the companies will have to determine who they're or how they are serving. Or maybe there will be a natural order of communities and cultures that are serving each other in the proper ways. Maybe if the younger markets, and it doesn't have to be age related, maybe if there are markets that enjoy watching AI generated videos, that they will be online watching them and the algorithm will just serve them more of that. And those that are much more interested in either human or high human creative designed videos, if they can understand the difference between those and AI, then they will, then they'll probably want to watch more of that. And I think there's going to be a stronger dichotomy. Like there's either going to be super organic or super AI. And I think the ones in between where they can't really tell or they don't understand what the difference is unless it's being authentic, they will simply start to ignore them.
And so for the content creator out there let's say they're coach and they're using it for branding and positioning, what would you tell them to put their attention on right now in order to make sure they stay ahead of the curve?
I mean, I think what we see, so we certainly understand that volume increases, the exposure and opportunity. But I think
volume equals higher ROI, plain and simple.
Yes, and I think you need to be careful that your community. I mean, right now there's a lot of people that are pumping out higher stuff, and it's getting attention, but it's also getting pushback. So I think that how long will you be able to do that? You start to set up your entire systems where your systems are just generating everything. At what point will your customers say, I'm going to go over to this other person who's actually real and creating it? Now, some in between that we're seeing right now is more of the cloning thing where you're cloning yourself. It's not so much about the media production. It's more about the creative or intelligent design. I mean, does everybody just want to be educated by LLMs? I think this is an important conversation is what do people really want? Social media was entirely a platform for people to share with each other, kind of be
That was
engaged.
definitely the original intent, to connect and share with each other in a community. It's lost that, hasn't it?
Yeah, mostly it's gone. It's now just become an advertising billboard that everybody's fighting for attention. Everybody's trying to advertise their stuff. And then the rest is now all becoming AI created content. So to me, it's completely lost its small spark of what it was in the first place is totally gone to me. I spend no time on there. When I do, it takes me 15 seconds to have another thought of like, oh, I don't even know if I'm watching this even real, in which case I'm like, forget it. Like, what's the point of me even spending my time exposing my brain and taking up my time watching something that could have been just designed by Sora out of an N8N automation? Like, why am I spending time on that? Mm-hmm. I mean, the entire design of what I enjoy with media, which I think is the same sentiment from our age, is we like to see people being creative with ideas or editing or systems or platforms or storylines or something. We want to be entertained in a certain way.
Yeah, but what if AI gets so good, it'll actually frame it in that way it'll frame the content in a way that says it looks and appears that way so well.
So it will, and it is actually in some ways already.
It seems to be going that way already, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can ask it to go to ChatGPT, create a whole script, pull relevant information, even pull in, relevant news, and then put it into an entertaining platform, maybe put your clone on it and have it design everything. So, but what's going to happen when 1 billion different users can do that? And there's like 100,000 drops an hour on your channel. Like, I mean, how, like, then you're going to have
so massive. It's just now it's a small percentage, so it's interesting, but you're saying it's going to, when it quadruples and goes from there.
I think it's going to self-implode. I think that they'll either put.
So what comes after the self-implosion then?
Regulations. I think they'll start to regulate the amount of times you can actually post. I think they will regulate, whether it's AI or you'll have to actually say it's AI. I think we're driving a little too far, too fast in some of these areas with too little attention to human values to expect a healthy adoption. If they had some sort of like, hey, we're using it, but we're going to maintain some of the core human values like over others. So instead of speed and frequency, just because you can, we're going to focus on the values of creativity and authenticity. And therefore they work their algorithm to actually search for that versus frequency and engagement.
Well, it'll be whatever the algorithm will serve, most likely what's going to have the highest revenue for the company itself. And secondly, whoever the people are paying attention to. So if they just love their AI and they love that, they're going to be served a lot of AI, and that's just what's going to be the future of it. It's kind of going to get
yeah. And the question is are those people, is this, so the people that kind of caused social to be what it is, and maybe social is just going to eventually change into something different, right? I mean, we got how many billions of people on Facebook? I think we got 1 billion on LinkedIn. We have 2 or 3 billion on Facebook or something like that in the current.
25% of the planet is on social, at least, or 50%.
Exactly. So the question is, will it turn into something else due to this transformation, or will it, in fact, stay as it is and just keep generating more content? Are we just going to find new people watching it? So
what will it turn into? Because it's definitely it's definitely transforming right now.
Well, so I think about it this way. So I got a 16-year-old son, right? So, and I was asking him, and I hope he'll be on the podcast actually soon because we're going to talk about how teens.
Yeah, I want to know because that's the next generation.
Yeah, but he was saying to me that his generation doesn't care if it's entertaining, they watch it. But
doesn't matter if it's almost as entertaining. So it's
Right.
entertainment, not connection. So
exactly,
It's moved
it's
from
entertainment.
connect. Before, remember when we first got into it with MySpace and everything? It was about. I actually thought I was connecting with people, staying in touch with my friends. I was about, I'm going to stay in touch with my friends, even though they live in other countries. I can do that. That is gone now. It is entertainment. I think your son nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, so he's like, look, my generation, meaning his, is that they just like the entertainment, so they watch it for the entertainment purposes. Okay, but as a culture, if they're just watching it, they don't have any real affinity or any real loyalty to it because there's no real connection. Then you're creating an entire world of viewers of no connection to anything. Total lack of loyalty, total lack of real, emotional, spiritual connection to anything.
So then it's whoever makes the most entertaining thing gets the most attention.
Switches from week to week and nobody's got any loyalty to their stuff. And if but if everybody's using the same top systems to create entertainment, then everybody's creating it. You know what I mean? Like it's just a cluster to me. And so I think that we've arrived at human values in history here for a reason. And even with technology, we've integrated technology, maintained important human values and moved it forward. This is challenging human values, which I'm all for these challenges. I think it's really cool that we're doing that. But I do think that we as humans should also start to understand we're building them. We're allowing the platforms. We should start to also think about the regulations. And
the technology itself is just an amplifier. I think maybe before, when we were first in MySpace, it was more about connection and trying to keep communities. And now the humans are becoming more about being entertained. I think it's actually just a big amplifier.
Yeah. So let's consider other things where it's headed, which is things like Hollywood, advertising, marketing. So we were watching some of the some of the playoff games, rather the football playoff games over the last couple of weeks. Naturally, a lot of commercials in between, usually very fun. About 3 weeks ago, we saw a lot of AI commercials. We've been seeing less and less and less showing up.
Oh, you're saying that there's less AI on commercials? There were before, like Geico had a couple and all this, but now you're saying they've
full AI, Coca-Cola, all these different ones. And I think there's been a lot of backlash against full AI commercials. And let me put it like this. So if I ask somebody if they would want to watch a robot team play football, American football, or football or soccer, whatever, any sport, would you want to watch two robot teams play against each other? No. You go, no, right? Would you want to watch a mixed robot and human team play against each other?
It'd be really odd, wouldn't it?
It'd be really odd, yeah. I mean,
I probably would want it for pure entertainment.
It'd be like adults versus children. I mean, it would just be like,
yeah.
Super. I mean,
although there is that movie where the robots fight each other, and it's pretty awesome. It's like it's this robot versus robot. I think that'll go
battles,
well.
maybe
Battles. Yes, the battle bots.
I mean, we already have that, right? People do love that. That's a big show. Maybe that's a little bit more of it. But if you think about it, if I say, how about great. Now, would you want to go to a concert where it's all robots on stage?
No. Yeah, that would be.
Okay.
But you know what? But people do go to like Michael Jackson with the hologram.
Yeah, so fair enough.
That's different. That's nostalgia, though. That's nostalgia.
Exactly. It's nostalgia. It's also the only way to see him because he's not around anymore. And you're right. And it's a creative, technological advancement. But around him is all of the Cirque du Soleil. I think you're talking about the Cirque du Soleil in Vegas thing. It's all the real human acrobats and dancers and performers.
Right. So it's different when it's nostalgia. So back to like going to watch a bunch of robots sprinting. If we gotta.
Well, so that's the thing is, if you don't want to watch for entertainment robots perform on stage and be the sports stars, why would we want to watch them on social media? Like, what's the value in us having entertainment that's all AI driven, right? Seems kind of useless. Now, if they're using AI in the NFL to pick the teams, to arrange things, to orchestrate, to strategize, could get very, 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 very cool, in terms of like highly optimized, very interesting. But that's the way we'd be using AI, not actually allowing AI to kind of take over the platform and change the way we experience our entertainment.
But what if it gets, this is the next generation, if it gets so normalized that they are okay with watching robots sprint because that's all they ever had. That becomes their form of entertainment. That could be the quote new normal.
That's a great question. And that could be, right? So the next generation could actually love having robot leagues. Yeah,
we would be the old guys like, who cares about that? And they're like, this is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, imagine like instead of teams of football players, teams of super brains and super athletes, like all these super
It could
like
be the
robots.
same way as the next generation is totally okay with crypto. They're totally okay with transferring their crypto, just like they'll be totally okay with robots teams.
Yeah,
but
and
but a
robot
generation
artists.
has to exit first before that becomes normal, just like with crypto, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and will it be about the robots or about the people that own them? Will it be about the people that own the robot
It'll be about
teams?
the owners, and people will still. I think they'll still fanfare their robots. I really did. They still fan. There's that battle bots in Las Vegas, and people literally have fan clubs for certain for bots. So it could get odd.
Okay, so if we consider that and we think that actually social will just continue to find its audience, then the future of this is that actually there will be potentially, like if you want to be an authentic creator where you're shooting videos and you're taking time to shoot the videos, you will not be able to compete with the frequency, but you will have something that the others don't, which is a real live human channel, if that is still a value to people.
Them.
Yeah.
Could you do authenticity with frequency?
You can. It's very time consuming and it's very effortful, which is why a lot of people have turned towards automations and video right now. Yeah. But it's like when it becomes understood what's going on, I think it's going to swing back from we just automate all of our marketing to, okay, now we actually do a mixture of human and AI.
That actually makes sense, because if you're saying that there was pushback with the Super Bowl commercials, there'll be pushback with the other stuff. They didn't respond to it, which means it'll probably happen in social media.
Yeah.
That's a micro of the macro.
So and you mentioned short form. So short form is, gets a lot of attention because it's fast and it's exciting and it's kind of quick.
People have very low attention spans with everything right now.
Yeah. I was just reading an article, I think from Matt Damon, that the film companies now are requesting that there's action in action movies within the first 5 minutes.
People get too bored if it builds any kind of character.
Yeah, he was saying that typically when you learn to make an action film, you cut it into thirds, your first, your second, and your third part of your film. And you put a majority of your budget in your third part of your film, so you get a huge climax, so people leave the movie really excited and, that it really worked great. Right?
Yeah, I have noticed that with action movies lately. It almost opens with full blown. It opens with the same level of action the older movies used to close with. And then the end is a grand finale of chaos.
Totally. So the other thing they were saying is that they would like the new scripts and everything to be reiterating the whole storyline several times throughout the whole film. And he wanted to know why they wanted that. He said because most people are on their phones watching movies, so they're so distracted watching movies by watching other stuff on their phones.
Actually, I read this is actually more of a Netflix thing, not necessarily the movie theaters, because most of the money's being made on Netflix, right? So they're on their home, they're at home, and they're watching it on their phones, but they're there. Oh, so it needs to repeat it over and over again.
Yeah, and he's just dumbfounded, because this is a new world in which we're in with the amount of distraction and the attention. Right?
You can't even focus for an hour and a half. It's gotta repeat the same narrative 40 times because the person does it.
To shift into where I think this is going, and if you want to get ahead of the curve, where I think this is going to be going, or we're going to see the biggest success story, will be in a creative collaboration between humans using interesting creative AI tools to create interesting things. A little bit like when animation took off. This last weekend, we snuck in Toy Story with my little 6-year-old son, and I was like, wow, look at the old animation on it, right?
So it'll accelerate their creativity. It'll enhance it. It won't take it away.
Absolutely. And you'll see people using this stuff to create, there's all sorts of short, kind of short full-length movies that are out now using just AI. We're going to see a lot more of that. There's actually a whole platform now that they're building around that. I think that you understanding, just like a piece of music where you don't totally understand how much technology is getting used to build that music. You could have a Tate McRae song, just to use an example, where essentially it's just two people and it sounds like it would be an entire orchestra or bands or all sorts of musicians. And it's basically just two people with a, computer, laptop, bunch of virtual instruments and her singing in a microphone, all the tuning and everything that goes into her. So you're creating an entire product. And as long as there is one or two humans behind it and there's some creative thought process behind it, then we find it interesting.
I agree with you. I think that the future will be similar to how the animation got better and better and better and better. It's just enhanced the creativity. So once again, the tech just enhances what's already there. And if they use it that way as an enhancement, I think that's where it's going to carve itself out as.
Yeah, I mean, imagine you run the credits for the end of a movie and there's nobody there because
Bunch of agents did it.
yeah, it's done by AI tools that decided the whole thing and ran it.
And then the real credit is the people who funded it all.
Yeah, so the question is if we cannot identify a creator, do we enjoy watching the created?
I think for the
It's a deep
purists,
question, isn't it?
no, I think for the purists that are our creators, for the creators themselves that are generally creators, they want that. Similar to Black Eyed Peas. Black Eyed Peas, when they first started, they were a smaller band and they were true to their roots. And then all of a sudden they got huge and they changed their tone to go to the masses. But the people got pissed off that were the true ones there. They were really upset about it at the beginning because they said, "Oh, they've sold out." But I think that there'll be a whole group of people who like Black Eyed Peas are like, "Hey, this is fine. I'm okay with it," because they don't care. They just want that. Whereas the artists will be pissed off.
Okay, so that's kind of the ultimate is we think there'll be all sorts of layers of different people that are responding in different ways. It will, but the bottom line is that video marketing is exploding. The tools, the tips, the opportunities, the workflows, and everything are absolutely exploding. It's an incredible time to be using video in marketing, sales, anything you're doing with branding, building, product building, or even cinematic or, artistic stuff. It's an incredible time. And, we'll encourage our audience to just use your human creativity and then the cool technology tools to put together a final product.
And the enhancement, make better, make better. I guess what you were talking about, like Toy Stories, just make it better.
Yeah, I mean, we caught American Express does this artist thing where they take an artist and they decode their song. We saw Gracie Abrams decode a song. I think it's called "That's True." A song I love, and she goes line by line through it, explains what they were thinking, why they chose things, why it came up, what happened. Like, can you imagine just watching maybe ChatGPT tell you why it created the thing? Like, how far will we go? We accept.
I did this because can you imagine the rabbit hole it would tell you? It's like, this became the most logical choice because of your demographic. It would tell you exactly. It's terrifying, actually.
And the question will be is, once robots hit the mainstream, Jeff and I were sharing a video where it was a major VC investor who had just been through Tesla's Optimus labs. And he's like, very soon, nobody will even remember that Tesla made cars because this is going to be such a massive, gift to the world and such a major, let's say, thing that's put out there.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to go that way. Fascinating times.
Cool. All right. Well, there you have it. Hope that gives you some interesting things to think about. And we'll see you the next time on the Infinite Mindset podcast. See you later, Jeff.
See ya.